Has a late night study session ever led you to an insatiable craving for cake in the middle of the night? Today we will explore how disturbances in sleep circadian rhythm can affect energy intake and what those implications might mean for the global health issue of obesity.
First off, the word circadian originates from the Greek phrase circadian, which means approximately a day. Accordingly, circadian rhythms are the internal biological processes that follow a 24-hour cycle, allowing organisms to anticipate and adapt to environmental changes, such as day-night cycles. They regulate behavior, physiology, and internal processes like hormonal secretion and metabolism. This process is primarily generated by internal biological clocks that synchronize to external cues like light, temperature, and feeding.
The circadian rhythm is present in animals, plants, and microorganisms. In humans, nearly all tissues and organs have their own rhythms synchronized to the day-night cycle.
The circadian rhythm is primarily guided by the brain in the region of the brain called the hypothalamus. The circadian pacemaker is made of a cluster of about 20,000 nerve cells that come together in the hypothalamus to make what is called the suprachiasmatic nucleus.
The primary cue of the circadian rhythm is light, which affects the production of melatonin, or the sleepy hormone that maintains the biological clock. During the daytime, the special nerve cells in your eyes send signals to activate the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which communicate with other structures to ultimately inhibit or lessen the release of melatonin into your blood circulation.
There are a variety of factors that can disrupt the circadian rhythm. For example, environmental factors such as excessive exposure to artificial light or reduced exposure to natural light. This can suppress melatonin production, delaying sleep onset and disrupting the internal clock.
Behavior and lifestyle factors can impact the circadian rhythm in some way. Irregular eating during the body's natural rest periods can misalign metabolic processes with the circadian clock, while insufficient sleep further exacerbates this disruption by altering hormonal balances, increasing hunger and appetite, and contributing to obesity.
Finally, health conditions and biological factors may have an impact as well. Conditions such as insomnia, various sleep disorders, and mental health conditions like depression, bipolar disorder, and anxiety can change circadian alignment. In addition, medications for these disorders like antidepressants and stimulants can interfere with sleep and the circadian rhythm. Obesity has been one of the leading health problems in the world. In 2022, 1 in 8 people in the world were living with obesity. Worldwide, adult obesity has more than doubled since 1990 and is the risk of death for millions of people each year.
In a study conducted from 1994 to 2009, a cohort study of 14,800 found that exposure to short sleep through early adulthood caused a higher risk of obesity. Individuals who consistently have disrupted circadian rhythms at all 4 waves of study follow-up were around 1.5 times more likely to be obese.
Let's investigate exactly how disruptions in the circadian rhythm may potentially have an impact on obesity.
Firstly, sleep loss can be linked to an increase in appetite. 2-AG, an endocannabinoid, is one of the most important neurotransmitters that regulates appetite and follows the sleep circadian rhythm. During low levels of sleep, a low level of 2-AG is present, which typically increases by lunchtime. However, when people have less sleep, their 2-AG levels rise later in the day, and they tend to feel hungrier, especially for snacks. This suggests that sleep affects the endocannabinoid system that controls food intake and appetite, which is why your food cravings are so intense during a late-night study session.
Second, a poor circadian cycle may lead to poor dietary choices, especially for foods of high energy dense types, as a result of energy homeostasis disruption.
In a 2015 study, 16 participants were put in conditions simulating a night shift of work, and 16 were put in conditions simulating a day shift. 81% of the night work participants chose high-fat food options for breakfast compared to 33% in the day shift conditions. Those on night shift experienced a reduction in total daily expenditure, leading to increased cravings for high-fat foods.
However, not only does a disrupted sleep cycle lead to weight gain, it is also shown to impair attempts at weight loss. A study done showed that short-duration sleepers lost less weight than long-duration sleepers during a calorie-restricted diet.
A disturbed circadian rhythm can impair the metabolism in numerous ways, resulting in increased risk for weight gain.
By understanding the molecular and physiological interplay between sleep, circadian rhythms, and metabolism, this knowledge can help to address world health challenges such as obesity through targeted interventions.